Long-time viewers of the channel will know that I am a big fan of SwitchBot and their ecosystem of retrofitting smart home devices. In the last few weeks they've released this, their brand new pan and tilt camera, so in this video I'll be testing it out and giving you some of my thoughts about where it might fit in your Apple smart home. My name is Stephen and welcome to the channel. HeyTechi is dedicated to bringing you the best Apple smart home content, covering everything from HomeKit to Siri Shortcuts, and indeed everything that fits in between. If that sounds like the kind of thing that you're interested in, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our future videos. The SwitchBot pan and tilt camera retails for $13.99 USD or $29.99 here in the UK, which puts it in the lower price bracket for a smart camera. In this video, we'll be asking if this camera is worth the money, and if you have an Apple smart home, if you should be picking one of these up. Before we go any further, it's important that I let you know that SwitchBot has sent me this camera to review for them and offer my honest feedback on. As always though, here at HeyTechi we always give our completely honest and unbiased opinions on every single device that we look at, so that you can make the most informed decision when buying your next smart home device. Opening up the box, you'll find the camera itself, as well as a user manual, mounting hardware and a reset pin tool. There's also a power brick included and a micro USB cable for powering the camera itself. In 2022, I'm surprised that this wasn't USB-C, but since the camera always has to be plugged in, it's probably not going to matter all that much. Setup is fairly straightforward, and it is typical for a non-HomeKit device of its type. Using the SwitchBot app, you'll need to load up the connecting QR code on your iPhone, and then hold it in front of the camera to connect. This can be a little bit of a pain, and my top tip for this is to ensure that your phone is on maximum brightness setting during the process. Now, I've connected and disconnected this camera 25 times, and on average it took under 30 seconds to connect. Out of those 25 times, I had to reattempt to connect the camera 3 times, although it is worth noting that that was an issue when the brightness was slightly dimmer on my phone. Now, this is nowhere as efficient as HomeKit cameras, but the process is reliable in my experience, and I don't think you're going to have too many problems with it. So once the camera is set up, how does it perform? Well, once it's going, you'll be able to control it directly from the SwitchBot app. The SwitchBot app itself is a good solid smart home app, and it's stable when you're using it, and there's a good range of functionality on this camera itself. Despite the low price point, it's got all of the basic functionality and more than you might expect for a budget camera. Given that it is both a panoramic and tilt camera, it can rotate a full 360 degrees and 115 degrees up and down, so you'll be able to capture almost every single view within the room that it's set up in. It's equipped with a full HD 1080p 2-megapixel camera, which is okay, although it's nothing particularly special. Camera quality is pretty decent, as you can see here, and it's good in a range of different lighting conditions, and the video is everything you could realistically need for indoor use. There's also automatic motion tracking, and the night vision is pretty good as well, which is aided by the 8 onboard infrared LEDs. The camera supports two-way audio, so if you're away from home you can use it to monitor your pets and even speak to them through the speakers.
As you can hear, the audio isn't amazing, but for a base level entry camera, it's a nice feature to have, although it's one that you probably won't use all that often.
The camera allows you to take photographs and record short clips, and these can be stored locally on a micro SD card which sits below the camera lens on the ball here. There is also a paid cloud service that SwitchBot offers, but this is an expensive option, costing £5.60 a month here in the UK or £56 for the whole year at the time of recording. It's not the most expensive, but it is quite a bit extra if that is something that you will be considering getting. In order to get the most from this device, you'll want to pair it with the SwitchBot Hub, which will allow you to use it alongside other SwitchBot products and Siri Shortcuts. For example, using the preset points feature and a SwitchBot motion sensor, you can trigger the camera to rotate to look at a certain part in the room after you leave, or open the door. Now, usually using a SwitchBot hub will expose the SwitchBot devices to Siri Shortcuts directly. Now, officially, at least on the packaging, SwitchBot doesn't brand this camera as having Siri Shortcuts support, and you probably would be forgiven if you gave up after clicking onto their cloud services directly on the camera itself, as it seems to only be compatible with Alexa and Google. However, what you can do is trigger a few options using SwitchBot scenes, which include turning motion tracking on and off, recording on and off, moving the camera to those preset points, but the main use for this, in my opinion at least, is being able to turn the privacy mode on and off. With the tilt camera in privacy mode, the camera itself rotates the lens away and disables the camera too, which is really useful, and for me personally, as someone who doesn't like to have smart cameras looking into my home, I really like this feature. The other functions I can't see myself triggering using Siri. I would probably go directly to the app for that, but privacy mode over Siri is very useful to have. You can also get integration with these features using NFC tags as well, which are compatible with iPhone, and you can trigger many of the same features I've just mentioned. So overall, what's the verdict then? I think this is a decent entry-level camera that has a number of good features on board. I really like the privacy mode, which I personally think is a reassuring feature to have on any camera that is meant for your smart home. For smart home users generally, I think this camera is a good option to consider, but I don't think I can recommend it for those who are invested in an Apple smart home already. Sure, there are some ways to integrate this with Siri Shortcuts, but this isn't full HomeKit support, and I think it's hard to justify getting a non-HomeKit camera if you're going to be invested in an Apple smart home, to be honest, even if it does have some integration via Siri Shortcuts. The only exception to this might be if you are already invested in the SwitchBot ecosystem too. In that case, it might be worth adding this to your existing setup. At the price point, you do get a decent camera for your money, but if you're going down the Apple smart home route, you'd probably be better off spending a little more and getting a HomeKit supporting camera. If you do so, you'll be able to integrate that with your other scenes and routines within HomeKit, including the geofencing feature, which can allow the camera to automatically turn on to record when you're away from home. And this isn't something that you'll be able to do with this SwitchBot camera. In addition, if you are going that far, you might also consider a camera that supports HomeKit secure video. Now, I've made another video exactly on this topic and why it might be important for you, so if you're not familiar with it, make sure to check that out. Overall, I think the SwitchBot camera is pretty good, but it's just not going to be for me in my Apple smart home. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please make sure to drop it a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below about the SwitchBot pan and tilt camera. Do you think I've been overly harsh, or is it something that you can see yourself using in your smart home? Let me know down below. Until next time then, I've been Stephen for HeyTechi.